Welcome back, my name's Steve and thank you for joining me on my photography journey. Today I want to talk about something that I've used in lots of videos. I've used it for lots of pictures, it's something that I've used to calibrate my cameras with, but it's not something that you've seen. It's this. This is the color checker, and this chart helps me get all my colors right in my videos. This one is the Spider Checker 24, and on one side you have got 24 different colored patches of known colors. On the other side is a grey card, so you've got going from black to white and different greys in between. And what we're going to look at today is how I use it, what it's for, and why I would bother using it in the first place. So let's start with the grey side of things, because this is obviously much easier. The idea of a grey card is that it provides a neutral reference point for your pictures. So the grey on there is known as middle grey. So that is halfway between black and white. And it's visually what we see as being halfway between the two. So that's our neutral point in our picture. And from there, we can properly adjust our exposure and our white balance. Now this is particularly useful for something like product photography or portrait photography, where you're in one position, your subject isn't going to move anywhere, the background isn't going to change, the lighting isn't going to change. So you would use your grey card or your color chart to take an initial picture, and then once you've got that initial picture, you can take that out of your frame and get on with taking your pictures. But you know that any adjustments that you make to exposure or white balance, they can be done with that initial picture and applied to all of the other edits. And obviously that's one of the limitations here. If your background is moving, if your subject is moving, then a grey card isn't going to make any difference to your pictures at all. You would either have to have it in every single picture, or you would have to find some other way to balance the colors. And that is generally how I approach it with landscape photography. I just use my eye to get the colors correct. Whereas with product photography, you want to accurately represent the colors of whatever it is that you're taking a picture of. So you want your white balance to be right, you want your exposure to be right, and we'll talk about it in the future, you want your colors to be accurate. What I'm going to do now is use this grey card to take some pictures and to show you what it does, how it works, and how I would use it. So you can see over here, I've set up a little scene, and on there we have got a few different colors. So we've got the reds, we've got the blues, we've got the grey, we've got the wood. So all of those together under a kind of yellowy light means that we need to look at our exposure and we need to look at our white balance. So let's crack on with that now. I'm going to use my Z30, and this is a camera that I've not had for a very long time. So it's going to be interesting to get to know it a bit more, play with some of the settings as we go along. So the first thing that we want to do is put the grey card into the picture. There we go. So that's nicely in the center there. So now that that's set up, we can grab our camera, change a couple of things on here to begin with, just to make sure that everything is working properly and how we want it to be. So we're going to go into our menu on here, into our photo shooting menu. And the first thing that we want to find is our metering. So if we go into that and we go for spot metering, this means that it will use whatever the focus position is in your frame as your metering point. And as a reminder, your metering is how your camera determines whether something is overexposed or underexposed. You see on the side or on the bottom of your frame the light meter, and what you want is a correctly exposed image should be right in the center of that. So that's what we're going to use for our metering to make sure that we can focus it exactly where we want it to be. So we've got our camera ready, we've got our spot metering set up. So we're going to take a picture of this scene, focus on the grey card and take our picture. But what you can see from the metering on the side is that we are slightly underexposed here. So I'm going to reduce my shutter speed slightly. There we go, we're nicely exposed now. There we go, there's our picture nicely exposed. Perfect. What we can also do with this is take a reading and use it to set our white balance. So how do we do that? If we go into our info menu, we go to our white balance, and in here we can choose pre, and that's our preset. So if we go to that, press and hold OK, and that takes us into measuring mode. So what we want to come around and do is now fill the frame with that grey area. Take our picture, press I to go back to our main menu, and that has set our white balance. So we've now on our screen saying pre-1, and that's our white balance set. So again, I'll take a picture using the grey to meter. There we go, so that's all okay. Now we can move our grey card out of the way and take a picture of our scene. As long as the lighting stays the same and nothing particular changes. I mean, it's not the most exciting of scenes, but there we go. So now what we can do is bring that into Lightroom and edit that picture and see what it looks like. So I'm using Lightroom Classic, so we'll just go to Import, and it's the Z30, there we go. Load up these pictures. So these are the ones that we took today. So I only want those, so let's get rid of the others, and we can just select the ones that we took today. So just click on the first one, shift and click on the last one, tick the boxes, add it to a collection if you want to, and then import. And here they are. You can see the differences in colour between the ones that had the white balance adjusted in camera compared to the ones that were done before. So looking more detail at that, you can see completely different colours. The one on the left, we changed the white balance in camera. The one on the right, we're going to do that using Lightroom in a moment. You can see my lovely damp on the walls. That's fun. So here we go. Let's go into this one, into the develop module. And we want to use our eyedropper in this section here. And look at that. As if by magic, we can change it completely. And that looks much similar to the one that we corrected in camera. So what we can actually do is we can go back to here and we can compare the two. There we go. And look how close they are. Balanced different ways, but there we go. Now we can apply these white balance changes to the other images. So if we select the ones that we want to change, then we can go into our develop module, make sure auto sync is selected, do our white balance. There we go. You can see it's updated for 3 images, and then we can see that the colors have changed on all of these as well. So let's just, what can we do? Let's brighten it up a bit just on auto, and there we go. That's not bad, is it? So that is our white balance set, that's our exposure set. But what about the colors in that setup? Are they accurate? Luckily, that's where this side of it comes in. So we'll talk about that another day and talk about how I would use that, what I would do with the colors in my camera, and how that makes everything more accurate. So don't forget to like, comment and subscribe so you can see when that video comes out, and I'll see you again next time on my photography journey. So have a great week. Bye.